The gift giving season is almost upon us, and it's an ideal time for families to discuss holiday budgeting and spending as they plan their budgets. Here with us today to discuss spending during the holiday season is Tim Harris, Executive Vice President of Country Financial. Thank you so much for joining me today, Tim.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, first, there was a survey recently conducted regarding holiday budgeting and spending. Can you tell us what the survey found?
Yeah, the recent Country Financial Security Index found that most American households, over a quarter of them, have a taboo topic in their family where they haven't talked about money and budgeting with their kids. Ironically, a lot of parents would rather talk about the birds and the bees or go to the dentist or even pay a speeding ticket than have this conversation with their children about finances. So luckily, the holidays is kind of a natural time with extra expenses coming on the family household to talk about these budgets and have the conversation.
Absolutely. Now, in talking about finances, as you said, it can be a little difficult to do. When you're talking about finances with your partner and children, how can people approach those conversations with their families so that it's not as intimidating?
Yeah, the first thing to do is really kind of set up an overall budget amount. A lot of people think it's just about the gifts and what we're spending on gifts. However, it's really about also potential travel that your family might be taking, extra food expenses, decorations. You might be having that big family Christmas dinner, and all those things really add up. So you have to kind of take the holistic approach to the holiday season and what your overall budget's going to be. Then you have to have the meeting. You have to sit down with your spouse or significant other, talk it through, compromise on some things that you may want to compromise on, and talk about what that budget looks like, and then also bring your kids into the situation as well.
Absolutely, because you are correct. It is one thing that people tend to forget is that in that budget and that planning overall, it's not only giving to each other in the immediate household, but also giving to extended family or travel or food. So, yes, that's some great advice there. Now, what about with parents wanting to help their children as they create their own gift-giving plan for not only each other among siblings, but also outside of the family, outside of that home? What advice do you have for parents to help their kids make that a better experience for them and to stay on budget?
Yeah, the Christmas and the holiday season is a really unique opportunity to teach your kids about the value of money. Also sitting down with them, writing out the list of who they'd like to buy gifts for. If they're older, maybe they have a budget, they have some money on their own from a job that they have that they can contribute. If they're younger, you might be having to fund that, but creating spending goals for each item. We also like to take the family unit and go shopping. You can, especially with younger kids, give them an envelope full of cash, and they can actually feel what it's like to spend that money, find a gift that maybe they can't afford, buy gifts that they want to for their siblings or friends or family members, other family members, and really kind of understand the value as they're going and spending that money along the way. Another thing that's really impactful on children is to find a charitable organization or maybe a giving tree and go as a family and buy a gift for somebody in need and wrap that gift specifically for that other child, take it to the charity as a family unit, and really kind of create that true spirit of giving instead of just buying more stuff for ourselves. And how can we help others this holiday season?
Absolutely. Now, you talked about spending goals and actually incorporating that value, preaching that value to children. What are some ways that parents can help their kids to save throughout the year so that way when the holidays come around, it's not this big bulk that they have to go out and do or even worry about, or even so that parents will have to fund it, as you mentioned?
Yeah, that great point. One of the things you can do is actually prepare monthly from the get-go. And what I mean by that is after the holidays, it's time to sit down and have the post meeting to prepare for next year already. And think about on a monthly basis how much you want to set aside for your Christmas fund so that you can actually have the money ready to go when you get to the holiday season. Really alleviate stress. It's just a lot like other kind of planning that you would do, saving for other expenses and retirement and that type of thing. The holiday season works just as well. Set up a Christmas fund or a holiday fund that you can contribute to every month so that you don't have that stress at the end of the year where you're trying to come up with the money.
Great tip there. And how do you recommend for couples to approach their financial planning during the holiday season, even for those couples that don't have kids and just want to give to each other immediate family?
Yeah, it's kind of a similar process. You really have to have that conversation. We talked about the one couple person that is responsible for the bills and finances, sitting down and really understanding what those dollars are, sticking away from going online and buying one thing and then having multiple ads come up to say this would go with it, and sticking to your budget. But if you compromise, you will avoid the tragic situation that over 25% of Americans find, where they're having divorces and marital strife because of financial matters. And if you sit down and really talk about it and get on the same page together, you can really truly find the happiness on the other side of the holidays instead of the stress of debt.
Absolutely. Now, you talked about Christmas funds, establishing those, and also establishing holiday savings just overall. Can you tell us where can people find more information on not only how to set up a holiday fund if they haven't done so already, but some resources that can help them set those holiday funds up, as well as some holiday spending and budgeting tips and advice?
Yeah, you can find all this type of information at our website, which is at countryfinancial.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And again, for information and tips and resources to keep your holiday spending on track this season, visit the website of countryfinancial.com. Thank you so much for joining me today, Tim. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.